This is the new Koenigsegg Sadair Spear, and this is one of the biggest wings I've ever seen. It is a lighter, more powerful, more track-focused, but still road-legal take on the Jesko Attack, and it moves the game on in a few key areas. I'm going to be explaining exactly what's changed versus the Jesko, exactly what that name means, how many they're going to build, and how much they're going to cost. And we'll be catching up with the boss man himself, Christian von Koenigsegg. In fact, let's have a word with Christian first. Okay, Christian, Sadair Spear, am I saying that right?
I think so. It's a bit of a strange name, Sadair Spear. So I think the father of the horse is named after was probably called Sadair, is my guess.
Ah, okay.
So it's Sadair's Spear, kind of son, I guess.
Yes.
Guessing.
And just a bit of an explanation then about the name. So it's another tribute to your father.
Correct.
Like the Jesko, which was more obviously named after him.
Exactly.
This is his favourite racehorse or his last winner? Or?
It was the horse he raced on several times. And the last race he ever rode in '76 before he put his, what do you call it? I don't know, whip on the shelf.
Hung up his whip.
Was the Sadair Spear in '76. And he was this far away from winning, but almost won second place. So
you might run out of ways to tribute your father soon.
Yeah, so I think this is sort of the last hurrah to this kind of story, which has been amazing.
Well, tell us about the idea behind making a car like this, of this type, because I don't think anyone's ever got out of the Jesko Attack and gone, I need more downforce, more power, more of everything. But
it's exactly, and that's very true, and it's not really about that. It's more that we see, oh, there is new tire technology coming, okay. We're allowed to load the tire harder than we used to, because we kind of build the car off of what are we allowed to load the tire. So suddenly we were allowed to have a bit more downforce. Okay, can we do that? Yes, we can. Can we do something else? Okay, well, let's tweak the brakes then. There are new brakes. Let's tweak the suspension, the springs, the anti-roll bar. Of course, to get the more downforce to load the tires, we needed to do a lot of things. Details on the bodywork, front to rear, underside. There is actually a little bit of a power upgrade because you can put a bit more power to the ground when you have a bit more downforce and a bit stickier tires. And the way we achieve that is mostly through aero, to just force feed more air into the engine.
Two new air intakes on the rear deck there.
And then you need, when you get more power, you need a bit more cooling. So this is bigger, which also gives more downforce and cooling, but also oil cooler in the middle there.
Yep.
So it's all these kind of small things. And then of course the turbine aero wheels pulling air out from...
So this is actually, correct me if I'm wrong, a kind of reference to the Agera, which had, did you call them vortex wheels? Or,
exactly, yes.
Yeah, but those were metal. These are now hollow carbon fiber, which...
Exactly, they were machined metal, and that was a challenge in itself, because each corner needs to be different, because they are of course angled different left and right, and different size front and rear, so 4 different wheels. Here it means 4 different air core tools, 4 different tools to make the wheel, and 4 different layups of carbon fiber. So it's like this huge undertaking for 30 cars.
Your employees must love you.
But it gives that little extra.
Yeah, and this idea that they suck air from under the car, right? So
yes.
That has all sorts of
It gives downforce,
benefits.
but it also cools the brakes.
Yeah.
And the cool thing, you can see if you drive on a dusty track like on Gotland, where you have all this chalk in there, you've been there, you see these 45-degree strakes going into the rim of the wheel. Yes, you can see the witness marks of the air's being sucked out, so it's pretty cool.
Unfortunately, we're not at the Gotland ring today. We're here inside Koenigsegg's brand new factory, but we have got the opportunity to look around the car, poke around it statically here. So let's just do a full 360 of the car on the exterior, and I'll point out every new part that I can see. Starting at the front, well, first of all, appreciation for brown paint. It's a bold colour, but I think it's paid off handsomely in this case. So first of all, this bonnet vent, right, so this extracts the air from the front of the car. Normally on the Jesko Attack, it's just a single opening here. You've got a splitter down the middle. You've also got a gurney flap on the front here, which supposedly helps with downforce, and you'll see it all aligns beautifully with that single book-matched carbon fibre windscreen wiper. It's all very pleasing indeed. Right, the front splitter, absolutely enormous, but it was already enormous on the Jesko Attack. Here, these vanes are slightly higher, and these are way bigger. I mean, you could plough snow with those. Those are enormous and highlighted in white on this particular car. These vents, these louvres on top of the wheel arches, these are redesigned for maximum extraction out of that front wheel arch. Really important so you don't get lift at the front of the car. The tyres, a crucial part of this car because tyre technology is moving on at such a pace. Michelin Cup 2Rs, essentially more track focused tyres, as close as you can get to slicks on the road, and they're wider. 275 at the front, 335 at the back. The brakes are upgraded to carbon ceramics, of course, but you've got new pad materials there. The suspension, slightly retuned, lighter springs, slightly firmer settings to suit this car's more track focused nature. Right, come down the car a little bit. This is a nice little touch. Sadair Spear. This is the first time they've ever painted the name of a car on the side of a Koenigsegg. It's normally a badge, but here, this car is all about lightweight. I mean, overall, it's about 35 kilograms lighter than the Jesko Attack. So I'm not sure how much that's adding, but it's a nice little touch and a nice little story nonetheless. The roof. So it's a Koenigsegg trademark that you can remove the roof, you can store it under the front bonnet. Here, it's actually bolted in rather than clipped in. I can only assume that's because of the extra forces that are going around and you don't really want this flying off when you're on a hot lap. Come back down the side of the car. Oh, so here we go. A little spear motif to match the name of the car. And on top of this rear deck, so you've got these two bigger air intakes either side that rams air into the engine, and as well as the recalibration unlocks that extra 25 horsepower. And that intake there, that is an enlarged intake for the oil cooler. The reason for that is if you're going to be hammering around a track in this thing, it keeps everything nice and cool and means you keep all your performance and you can keep going around without overheating. Let's come round the back. There's something here that I was going to talk about. I can't remember. Oh yes, this enormous rear wing. So top mounted, they call it a twin blade active rear wing. It's a monster. Increases downforce, obviously. 20% more downforce on this car than you get with the Jesko Attack, but 5% less drag, which is interesting. And that's because if you look at this section here, the rear bodywork is actually slightly elongated. This is the rear bodywork from the Jesko Absolut, which is the low drag, higher top speed version. So they've basically taken the best from both worlds. This increases the top speed, helps to reduce drag, but then on the top surface, you've got a whacking great wing and loads of downforce. Come around the back, I'm going to hit the special button on my key and open this up, which is just, I just want an excuse to open it up really. What a piece of drama. There's obviously ghost mode, which you can hit where all the doors go up, the bonnet and the rear at the same time. Ultimate piece of peacocking. That's been a Koenigsegg staple for years now. This engine though, the 5-litre twin turbo V8 from the Jesko familiar. As I say, it's had a little ECU tickle, redesigned air vents. It's unlocked an extra 25 horsepower. So you've got about 1,300 horsepower if you're running on standard 95 octane pump fuel, but 1,625 horsepower when you're running on E85, which is a lot of power indeed. So there's no huge technical upgrade on this car, no quantum leap. It's just a series of small incremental improvements that should add up to a car that is even more extreme, even more visceral, even faster around a racetrack. Speaking of which, there is of course a racetrack that we're very familiar with, and so is Koenigsegg, that this car should excel on. Christian? Speaking of which, you obviously, Jesko Attack went around the Top Gear test track, set a blistering lap time.
It did.
Was the road legal lap record holder, briefly.
Right,
and then
yes.
the Valkyrie went slightly quicker, but...
Yes, true.
This car, you
so
think...
that's why we built it.
You've turned that around quickly. But no, if you're willing, let's get this down to the Top Gear track. Because
we need to see what it can do, right?
Yeah.
So why not?
Stiggy, you better start stretching off. The remarkable thing though about the Sadair Spear is the interior isn't quite as pared back as you'd imagine. Yeah, it's not exactly a stripped out racing car in here, is it? It's still quite luxurious. I don't think I've ever seen so much gorgeous exposed carbon fibre and brown and cream leather in my entire life. The most obvious giveaway that this thing is a little more focused is this, the optional 6-point harness, which, as you can imagine, is a massive faff to use when you're getting in and out, constantly sitting on the buckle and, yeah, crushing my bits. But you'll see that the passenger here has a normal seat belt. I would suggest if you're going to use this car regularly, you might want to get one of these on this side as well. But if you're going to take it on track, I suppose this is a useful addition. So what have we got in here? Well, this is new. The key, rather than going on the dash, now goes on the center console. There you've got wireless charging, you've got electric seats, you've still got a stereo, you've still got the amazing twisty self-leveling instrument cluster that's attached to the wheel. Love that. Just a little bit of Koenigsegg trickery that doesn't really get old. So yeah, it's a very usable track focused car. I mean, you could be setting a lap record in this thing while taking a conference call. I must admit, it's a lovely thing, pipped only by the CC850 in my Koenigsegg Fantasy garage. But now for some bad news. They're only building 30 of them, costing 3.8 million euros plus tax each, and they sold out instantly. In fact, every Koenigsegg is now sold out. You literally can't buy one. I'll let Christian explain. So how long, if I want to order a Koenigsegg today, how long do I have to wait? And which Koenigsegg could I have?
Yes, so all our models are presently sold out. So we have nothing to sell, which is, yeah, kind of good, but also annoying because it's fun to interact and supply enthusiasts with their dreams and make them come true. So we would love to have more, but we will introduce something new in 1.5 years that then we will open up the order books again, and for something new that we're working on, and we have several projects. Doing very limited runs means you need to develop a lot.
Yes.
Because they all need to be different and they all need to have meaning, not just the same thing. So
it's almost 30 individual bespoke cars that you're making.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, I mean, the Jumeirah is a bit more, as we know, but it's very much bespoke, unique, tailor-made to the customer with meaningfulness in the sense of bringing something to the game, so pushing some boundary of some sort.
It's interesting you mentioned the Jumeirah because that will actually have a good, significantly more power than this, if you can imagine that.
Yes.
So, 2,300?
2,300, yes.
Woo. Okay, so a lot more power, but of course, this car is about track performance.
Yes.
With number plates. Whereas the Jumeirah is more of a, it's the family car.
It's the family car.
It's the family car.
It is pretty amazing around the track, I would say, shockingly so, and hopefully you can experience that soon.
Okay.
But it's not as fast around the track as this, even though it's got more power.
And I have to ask you this question because I think I ask you it every 3 years, 5 years about an electric Koenigsegg. Now, 10 years ago, you were probably saying, okay, yeah, maybe that's something. 5 years ago, you were a bit more, let's see. What's your answer today?
Well, the appetite in the market for this level of car fully electric is extremely low. So that's one aspect. But also just kind of experience electric cars myself for many years and loving the responsiveness, the smoothness, how easy it is to live with it and all of this. But after a while, if you're a car enthusiast, you want to feel, you want to talk to the beast, right? You want to have a dialogue. It's an argumentation. You want to hear how is it feeling and in what mood is it. So you want the throbbing, the pumping, the heats, the sounds, the shifts, all of these aspects that just make it come alive. I would say an electric car is a bit more of a robot. This is a bit more of an animal. And it's a bit like the watch industry went through. Of course, you had in the 70s, you have the quartz watches coming in and killing the analog mechanical watches. But then they came back because people just wanted a hand-built emotional piece, artisanship. Here, it also brings actually more performance around the track than any EV can because it's lighter, but you have all of those aspects of Swiss watchmaking in the shape of a car.
And that's not going away anytime soon, that people spending this amount of money on a car want that mechanical complexity
Yes.
and that kind of romance of the engineering behind it.
We're fusing in electrical drive a little bit here and there, and then maybe one day, who knows, there might be something, but at the moment we're happy as it is. And of course focusing on renewable fuels and
of course,
all of these things.
You were a pioneer with E85
Yes.
compatibility in your cars.
Yes.
And of course synthetic or e-fuels may become more prominent in the future, at which point you could run this car on effectively carbon neutral fuel.
Exactly. And with the Gemera, of course, you can drive electric if you want. And you have regen, so you save energy. And it's the world's only hybrid flex fuel car. It's the only one mixing two environmental aspects for the sake of performance more than anything, but it also has the nice backdrop of being more environmentally conscious, which is just an upside.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, look, it's incredible. I didn't think the Jesko Attack could attack any harder, but Sadair Spear takes it even further. And look, do your tests, have a look at it, and we'll see you on the Top Gear track maybe.
See you there.
Thanks, Christian.